People will not go to you if they don't know you. If I cannot find your church online, I cannot visit your church. If I do find your church online, but I'm not engaged, I don't see what I want to see. And I'm not saying that in a way of like a worldly way. I'm saying I feel like I need this. And you're saying, oh, but we only provide that. Well, then I'm not going to engage with you. I'm not going to connect with you on some level when someone is looking at a church website. God is calling them to him, and they found your church as the medium, and they find your church website to learn about your church. So if you don't confidently persuade someone to take action and come to your church to hear the gospel and be discipled, then your website doesn't really do anything for you. And if it's not doing anything for you, why do you have a website? So in today's show, I'm going to share with you 3 simple ways that you can update your church website and make it a modern user experience, make it more of a guest journey. So you have more people planning a visit to your church. You get more people to your services and your events. Let's get into it.
Welcome to the Best Known Church Show, where we show you how to 10x your reach with church marketing that will help you increase your impact, make more disciples, and become the cornerstone of your community again. This is for the leaders with an outrageous vision, because anything less would be an inaccurate reflection of our Creator. The ones who have unreasonable faith, because you know God works unreasonable miracles. And the ones who are relentless in the pursuit of your calling, because anything less would not make a good and faithful servant. If that's you, you're in the right place. Now, please welcome your host and guide on this journey to become the best known organization in your community, Justin Nava.
Welcome to the Best Known Church Show. My name is Justin Nava. If we haven't met, I take full responsibility for that.
Show you how to
pause this here. I take full responsibility for that. I'm glad you're here, though, and I'm glad you are on a journey to become the best known church in your community, because if they don't know you, if your city, your neighbors, your neighborhood, your community doesn't know you, they cannot go to you. What we're going to talk about today is simply improving the engagement on your website. What does that mean? It means that when someone comes to your website, you want them to do something, right? I mean, why do you have a website? So people can learn about your church. Okay, so you want them to learn about your church. They don't learn about your church by loading up your website and then hitting the back button immediately. You want them to click through your website. So if I ever say the word click through, that means that they're clicking and going deeper into your website. All right. So when you load up your website, I didn't mean to go into teaching mode, but I want to make sure we're clear on terminology. Okay. When someone goes to your website, your homepage loads up first. And when that homepage loads up first, you want them to do something. You want them to click plan a visit. You want them to watch a sermon. You want them to do something. Okay. That's called engagement. If they come to your website and they leave without doing anything, that is non-engagement. It's called a bounce. Right. And what I want to show you is how to get results like this. If you're listening to audio, I'm showing a couple of snapshots of our reports where you want people to go from not really clicking to clicking a lot. And not just empty clicks. We want to have meaningful clicks. We want to have people doing something on the website that moves them forward to take a next step. All right. In the same way, we don't want someone coming to church just to sit down and then leave. We want them to take a next step. We want them to do something, essentially. And if they don't do anything, again, they might have heard something, they might have seen something, but we want them to do something meaningful. All right. So we're going to talk about that today. And as always, I want to make sure that we are clear on why what we have now, or why what you have now isn't working. You shouldn't, if you got something that's working, and you have analytics that look like mine, that's fine. That's great. Go do that. Okay. Stay with that. But if you are seeing people not clicking through your website, if they don't do anything, then you're going to want to fix some things. Okay. And the number one problem I see, especially with churches, it is so counterintuitive. I know what you're going to say. It is counterintuitive. The first problem is only talking about you as the church. And you may be saying, Justin, that doesn't make sense. They're here to learn about our church. We should talk about our church. And that's not exactly true. When I go to the New Balance website, because I want to look at the shoes, I'm not necessarily looking at the New Balance shoes to learn about the shoes. I'm going to learn about how comfortable they are going to be for me, what styles you have that I like, and what sales you have that fit my budget. See, I'm not just learning about New Balance. I'm learning about what New Balance can do for me. And in the same way, we need to realize that our church websites are not just for someone to learn about the church. It's to learn about what your church can do for them. And if you want someone to see themselves going to your church, like visually picture themselves going to your church, you need to showcase to them what it is about them. And if by the way, if your website sounds a lot like, we worship for this, we do this, we love this, you end up coming off better than thou. What is it? Holier than thou. Instead of like, you're welcome here. Going back to the secular world, and I don't mean to just pull secular. There's a lot of secular marketing techniques that don't work for the church. But there are a lot that do, because marketing is psychology and persuasion, and even Paul persuaded. So we can use the same strategies to reach people for the gospel. Same way we use English, right? So does the strip club. They use English in their promotions. That doesn't mean we're going to change our church signs to Hebrew. No. Okay? There's going to be some overlay. There's going to be some bleed over. Terrible example. But an example nonetheless. So, we don't want to just sit here and just talk about how great we are, because this person is hurting. This person is lost. This person is unfulfilled. This potential guest needs something. And if you pretend like you've already got everything, they're not going to fit in with your church. So you need to make sure that you are accessible. And I'm going to share with you how to fix that. The number two problem I see with many church websites, along with appearing holier than thou, is appearing completely disconnected from your community. All right. And I'm not talking about demographically so much. Like, a church might say, well, there's no church within 5 miles of this urban area. We need a church here that represents this neighborhood. I'm not talking specifically about that. I'm talking about the desires and needs that we have as human beings to connect with our Creator on a certain level. And again, if you just say, well, come worship with us, my need is not self-diagnosed as worship. My need is self-diagnosed as purpose, as healing. Now, I can find all those things which then lead to worship. I understand that. But just using that language is kind of like a gym website. Let me look up here, Planet Fitness. And I only use these examples because it's something that we can relate to. All right. I clicked on an ad. Hold on. Okay. So if I go to Planet Fitness, which is a terrible example, I don't patron Planet Fitness. It's just the name that came to my head. And I go to their website, I see whether you're a first-time gym user or a veteran member, we're here to provide a workout environment in which anyone and everyone, to a fault, that's me, can be comfortable. I added my own little editorial there. So essentially, we're here to provide a workout environment you can be comfortable in. Okay. And for churches what I don't see, a bad example of along the lines of what I'm talking about, is if Planet Fitness instead led their website with, come lift heavy things that are really hard and to failure. Come run until you can't breathe anymore. That sounds uncomfortable. And so if your church website along the same lines starts with, molded in the image of God, like, okay, I don't necessarily understand what that means. I'm not staying awake because I want to be molded. I'm staying awake because my wife is unhappy. I don't know how to raise my kids. I don't feel like a man. If you open up your church website with, I'm gonna do this on the back end here. Let me look. Churches in Dallas, Texas. I'm not going to show the church it is. I'm going to pull up a headline, and let's just see what it says. Sunday worship service, schedule below. Again, there will be some people that come to your website and they just want to know service. But I also want to know, do I fit in here? Is this a place I can come? Is this a place where I can get into things? Okay. Welcome to our church. Become a pastor. That's overwhelming. Now this website I'm looking at, I like. Their headline says, "Find unexpected joy and purpose in Jesus." This website checks all the boxes that I'm about to teach. So I'm going to keep this pulled up here. Okay. But you don't want to open up your church website with, "Hey, come worship God with us." People aren't like demanding that. You need to find what their felt needs are and speak to those. So for example, this church, obviously their community is depressed or has feelings of depression and lack of purpose. So what do? They open up their website addressing those needs. I've got a couple other examples we'll show later, but I just want to highlight, like, let's take a look, audit our own church website and see if this is what we're dealing with. The last thing is just generic messaging. Okay. Do you sound like every other church? If you sound like every other church, you will be treated like every other church. And if I've passed by every other church, I'm going to pass by your church. So, your church was uniquely planted for a unique reason, right? God didn't, even if it was 100 years ago, God doesn't keep your church open to be just like another church. You didn't take the job leading your church because you could have gone anywhere and instead you went to your church. No, you took the job at your church because this church is uniquely equipped to uniquely reach a unique group of people, and you are a tool of God, of ministry, to be in that toolbox to reach people. So if we have unique sermons, we have unique worship sets, even if we use curriculum that's shared with other organizations, we have unique teachers that teach it in unique ways. And yet our website looks like a stock photo site of a church. Like if I just asked AI, give me an example of a church website, they might pull up your church because it just looks generic. Generic messaging yields generic results. So what do we need to do about it? What do we do? And by the way, let me bring it back to the purpose of today is engagement. Okay. If you want people to engage with you, you need to be engageable. So if you just talk about yourself and you don't talk about where I can fit in with you or where I can connect with you and engage with you, then yeah, I'm going to be disconnected. All right. If you're talking about apples and I want oranges, yeah, there's a disconnect. I'm not going to stop at your stand. That's what's killing Star Wars right now. It's because the people that fell in love with Star Wars love Star Wars for one thing, and the people that bought Star Wars, Disney, is cranking out something else. They bought a lemonade stand and they're making orange juice. And people who originally liked lemonade were like, I don't like this anymore. Maybe you like both. That's fine. There's some overlap. So if you're just saying, we're here to make disciples, and I'm saying, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired, I just want to find a church that'll accept me and help me in my life. And you're just there like, oh, we just want to make disciples. Well, there's a disconnect there. I'm not going to connect. Therefore, when I land on your website, I'm not going to connect and I'm going to leave. And then if you have generic messaging, when you, your church cannot reach everyone, but the people that you are equipped to reach, when they land on your website, they should feel like you're talking directly to them. I got a great example of that. I got a few actually. I don't share a lot of client work because I value our clients' privacies, but I have a few that I'm allowed to share. Really, it comes down to the pastors. We've either worked together a long time or they're also authors or have some syndications. And when I say that, I'm not talking about like best-selling author. I'm talking about like they have books that they ship a few dozen overseas every quarter. Okay. These aren't like big wigs. Okay. These are normal small church, local pastors. I'm going to share with you some of those examples because I mean, I'm very proud of them. Obviously the church is proud of them. We get some of our best results with it. And I think you'll see, and if you're listening to this on Spotify, I'll do, or wherever you like to listen to podcasts, I'll do my best to narrate, but this is, going forward, we're going to be a lot more visual on the show. So by all means, go to YouTube, like, subscribe there. We'll have some clips as well, but I want to help you see a lot more than I can describe. Because ironically, I'm not a good descriptor. Is that a word? So let's go into what you should do to get more engagement. Okay. First of all, fix the things we talked about, because you should talk about yourself, but talk about how you help the person visiting your website. All right. So instead of "we exist to glorify God," okay, maybe it's "we exist to help you find your purpose and glorify God." I would just say helping you find your purpose, no matter how lost you are. You need to make sure that you understand what your community needs, what's hurting them. All right. This is a big problem, especially when pastors travel from church to church. They have a message prepared for a white suburban area that does not translate to a black urban area. All right. Totally different cultures. And so it's one of those things where, like, God calls us to plant churches in unique areas because we have unique gifts. You serve unique people. In the same way, you can't just grab Elevation's website, copy, and expect it to work for your rural area. You're going to wonder where to put all the programs you don't have. Okay. So, where, where was I? You need to know what your community is, what's hurting them. For some communities, it's addiction. For some, it's sickness. For some, it's poverty. For some, it's like, I was talking to someone yesterday and I was like, look, our people, they don't coupon. They don't need coupons. They don't pay attention to coupons, discounts, or savings. But you know what they do need? They feel incredibly lonely because they don't need coupons. So they don't need relationships to get what they need. They have what they need. And because of that, everyone feels phony. Everyone feels like they have it all together. Everyone feels like they can't be vulnerable. So what should your website look like then? That's the question we're going to answer. And then speak directly to your community. Don't just be generic. But I'm going to give you some actual tactical advice. That's a lot of high level advice. You're going to have to work on your verbiage, your messaging, which we can absolutely help you with that. NavaChurchMarketing.com, or go to the link down below. We're still working on my site, but you can go to JustinNava.com. That right now, that will forward you to Nava Church Marketing. Click the Get Started button or Start Here button, and schedule a call, and we can look at, how do we improve this with you. But I want to give you some tactical things, whether you're a volunteer, whether you're a receptionist, pastor, youth pastor, or you're the actual church communicator. I want to give you some things that you can do today to see more engagement by next week. So if you get 30 people to your website and only 2 of them click through right now, I want at least 10 of them to click through your website from now on. I'm going to show you how to do that. The first thing is you need to find your separator, the unique thing about you. What makes you unique? Why should I care about your church when I haven't cared about any other church? And then here's the scary part, church leader, pastor. You need to make that your headline. You need to say, we exist in this community in a way that no other church exists. And that's your introduction to your church. Great example. citypoint.org. Experience church without the baggage. This was actually something the pastor told me. It was like, hey, there's a lot of churches that just come with a lot of baggage and people don't care about that stuff. So we just flat out open the website. This is not if you want business as usual. This is not come blend in the background church. This is church with intention. This is church with purpose. This is church that is unlike every other church in that we will help you answer the hard questions. And it is like that through the whole site. We continue a different kind of church community. Transformational journey will help you find understanding. Don't settle for normal, Move beyond the normal church experience and embark on a transformative journey that will impact your faith and life in profound ways. And if that hooks me, if I am someone that's like, I don't want any normal church around here, I don't want the mega church down the street. I want something like I grew up with, my grandma's small church. Guess what? The next thing the website asked me to do is see what Sunday is like. We could have said plan a visit. We decided to see what Sunday's like. So whatever that separator is, whatever makes you unique, lead with that. That's the one reason why. What is the one reason why someone should care about you? And newsflash, it should have to deal with something they're struggling with. The second thing you need to do is have easy navigation. Now, this is something that we're still, I'm going to warn you here, we're still on the tail end of research, but the numbers are looking good enough that I'm going to share this with you. Having everything available and accessible on your website when I first visit, it's kind of like having all the rooms on one sign as I enter the door. And we want signage. When I enter your church, I want to see sanctuary, kids area, restrooms, offices. Maybe there's something there for the fellowship hall. Maybe there's something there for Sunday school classrooms. What I don't want to see is signage that says classroom 101, classroom 102, classroom 103, classroom 104, classroom 105, classroom 201 up the stairs this way, classroom 202, 203, 204, fellowship hall, men's room, women's room, kids restroom, family restroom, other men's room, other women's room, other kids restroom, office, pastor's office, youth leader's office, worship office, practice hall, green room, sanctuary, fellowship hall, dining area, kitchen, janitor closet, music storage, sound booth entrance, baptismal entrance, foyer, private school office, Sunday school classroom ages 1, Sunday school classrooms ages 1A, Sunday school classroom ages 1B. Have I made my point? When you walk into, someone just started watching and like, what the heck am I watching? When you put everything on that sign as you walk in the church, you're going to overwhelm some people. And not only that, it's going to be really hard to find where the worship center was in that long list of signage I just gave you. We know when someone enters the church, you should just put the most important information or what is often the most important information. Sanctuary, restroom, kids area, right? Welcome center, maybe. So if you load up your website and I see there's like 10 things in the navigation bar, and then I drop down and I see there's 10 things underneath where it says youth, that's a lot. So one of the things that we've done and we're seeing good results with, in fact, on the numbers of the report that I showed you at the beginning, that's this church, is simplifying navigation. And again, when you do this stuff, it should hurt. And it hurts to hide information sometimes. But when you come to this website, first of all, you're asked again, plan a visit. But also, if you're curious, there's really only two things we really want you to do. We want you to plan a visit, or we want you to look at next steps. If you need anything else, you're probably with the church already. You can go down a few menu items to go find some about information, ministry information, resources, events, etc. But if you're new here, we just want you to plan a visit or look at the next steps. Okay. And your church people are going to hate this. I'm just going to be honest. Your youth pastor is going to walk in the office and be like, hey, Miss Susie said she can't find this week's Bible lesson because it's buried under more and ministries. She wants to know if you can put it in the bar there, like Sunday school resources. And you have to say no. And youth pastor, if you're the one that does the website, you need to tell yourself no. What is the one action we want people to take? Usually it's come to worship, and then make that the primary thing. If you do have a secondary thing, that's it. Give me one of two options. Do not give me a sign with 30 things to go to. It's overwhelming. When I'm overwhelmed, the option to do nothing becomes easier than the option to do something. Make sense? So I always say, I'm all messed up here. I always say, answer this question. What's the one thing someone should do when they come to your site? If they're only allowed to do one thing, what should that one thing be? For many churches, it's going to be plan a visit. Come see us on Sunday morning. A lot of pastors will tell me, well, I want them to learn about the church. No, you don't. No one's life is better because they learned about a church. Just like no one is saved if they learn about God. What you really want is someone to take a next step. Come to church, watch and worship online, come to a small group, go to an event, do something. Well, what's that one thing you want them to do? For many churches, it'll be plan a visit. Okay. Now, if you get more advanced, like the site I'm about to show you next, you can do a little bit more because you know how to measure it. But if you're doing it yourself, I recommend just do one thing. If you want to see your website win, just make one thing the main thing. Sunday morning, worship. The last thing, well, not the last thing, but the next thing I'll share with you today. And this one, it's easier said than done. I'm going to warn you on that, because where a lot of pastors and church leaders and volunteers have to start is a template. And when you start with a template, you have some issues trying to get outside of that box. And you're going to either tick the box with the same kind of picture or the same kind of graphic that the template gives you, but because you're not a professional designer, it's going to look a little bit different. And what I see with a lot of templates is they don't want to use a lot of pictures of people. They don't want to put a lot of video slots into templates because not everyone has that. And they understand that if a potential buyer sees a website with a lot of pictures and video, and the person may not have that, they may not buy that template. So you understand the problem with templates. They're not always made. I'm not saying this is 100% true, because I know some good template creators, but sometimes templates are made to be sold rather than be used. That's a big problem. I think that's actually the definition of corporate greed, by the way. Selling something for the money, not for the purpose. Because someone can sell something really nice with a lot of profit that has a lot of purpose. I don't think that's corporate greed. I think making something that intentionally breaks after 3 years, even though it should last for 8, I think that's corporate greed. Okay, but separate podcast, separate discussion, separate time with Justin. Let's grab some coffee and we can talk about stuff. Okay, anyways, back to templates. So templates don't always give you the end result that you need. Sometimes they just put you in a box, and you got to try to fit your church into their box. Now, if you do use a template, it's still possible. I mean, we've got some website frameworks that we use, and we can still manipulate them and update them to make it unique and custom tailored for churches. It's one of the ways we keep our costs down. But when you do use a template, you got to replace everything with your church. Replace their language with your language. Replace their pictures with your pictures. Replace their videos with your videos. If you don't have videos, just use another picture. And replace their, don't read their testimonies and be like, well, I don't have a testimony. Delete. No, get your own stories on there. And by the way, when you share stories of hurt and rescue and redemption. This comes back to the being more holy than thou. No, we're all sinners. We've all fallen. We've all been in need of a savior. But if your church is just, we're so great, we love worshiping, God is good. Look at these people. I love this church. The pastor's so funny. The people are so friendly. You look like I don't belong. You look like you're all dressed in white cloaks and I'm sitting here in my burlap sack. I ain't going to fit in there. So don't be afraid to show some hurt on your website. Show some vulnerability on your site, because that's where God can be shown, right? What's the, we boast in God in our weakness. You can help me out. Put it in the comments. Okay. In our weakness, God's glory is shown, not in our greatness. That's usually when we start boasting ourselves. I did this. I lost 160 pounds. I made this money. I bought this house. But when that mortgage goes up under, what's it called? Upside down, and God gets you out of it, it's real easy to praise him then. So here's an example. If I can find my screen. There we go. And this one, by the way, if you don't have any videos, this is a great site to model. Okay. Live better and love better. What are the two things this community wants? Second poorest county in the country. They just want to live better, and they want to have better relationships. Okay. But as you can see, when we come down, we've got stories. Pastor starts with a story. We've got a literal story here, testimonial video. It's not pretty. It's not professionally lit. The audio is probably not that good either. I don't know if I can play it for you. But it's a powerful testimony. And then we got written testimonies. Okay, these are their people. These pictures are not perfect. The message, people. This is what gets engagement. And by the way, this is cool. I love this. This church had so many. We actually had to make a testimony screen. We've got more. Okay. And by the way, people will trust this screenshot stuff more than just you retyping everything. And they will definitely trust videos more. Okay. By the way, just take some time one Sunday a month and share a story. Record it, put it on the website. 3 months from now, before Christmas, you can have a page like this. So one of the things that we do with our SEO service is we help you get these testimonies to share on your website, but also as reviews. That's what some of these are. These are reviews. So you want to share stories. And by the way, look at the background here. That's not a big church. Okay. I know the pictures sometimes make it seem like that, but this is a old school Baptist church. Love Pastor Victor. So you want to show God doing work in your church. You need to show people your church, your stories. You need to let them see themselves in the people that are at your church. And when you do that, it makes it easier for them to take a next step because they know someone like them has been there. They know someone like them has been helped. All right. It's one thing. Again, not to go back to the gym bro thing, but it's one thing for a bulky, ripped college lineman to say, I'm going to help you lose 50 pounds because I know what you need, versus, saggy skin mom that's like, hey, I lost 50 pounds while having 2 little kids. I can show you exactly what I did. The differential between those two stories will allow someone to easily see themselves in your church and make it easier for them to engage with you. Okay. This is what the Nava marketing method, previously known as the definitive church marketing method, is all about. It's about knowing who you are and displaying that properly to your community. We're not airing out your dirty laundry. We're getting people to know your church and know why they should care enough about your church to take a next step. And by the way, your website is only as good as the people that come to it. It's like a road. A road doesn't do any good if no one's walking on it. You just wasted money. So if you need not just a news website, maybe you're happy with your website, but you want more people to go to it. Okay. You need what's called traffic. Then you need to talk with me. So go to navachurchmarketing.com. You can click that green Get Started button and we can talk about what it looks like. If you're happy with your website or if you need a new website, but we want to bring more people to your website, we can absolutely do that. So also go to go to Facebook. I don't have a banner for this. Let's see. Facebook, Be the Best Known Church. Making this stuff on the fly. Go to Facebook, find the group, Be the Best Known Church. I've got a training in there that actually, like, if you're like, what is the Nava marketing method? You just made this up. Yeah, absolutely. I did. I made it up based on experience of the last 12 years, helping churches become better known in their community. Go to Facebook, go to the group, Be the Best Known Church. I've got a free training in there that shows you everything you need to do step by step to become the best known in your community, to go from unknown to best known. Pretty proud of it. I'm already working on version 2. Just an update, a couple things we see in the video that's not clear enough. A couple questions I get DM'd. So we're going to update that and make a version 2. But you can go get version 1 right now. It's free, by the way. It's a Facebook group. Jump in there. Love to have more people in there. And wherever you're watching, like, subscribe. Get the next one. Go find me on YouTube. If you're on YouTube, subscribe because I got videos coming out every day now. And I will see you guys next week.
That's going to do it for today's episode of the Best Known Church Show with Justin Nava. Be sure to subscribe to stay updated on the latest news, strategies, and resources that you need to reach 10x more people and become the best known in your community. To send us a message or leave a voicemail for Justin to be played on a future show, visit thebestknownchurchshow.com. And if you'd like to work with us so you can focus on your ministry, give us a call at 832-861-7654. Until next time, stay outrageous, unreasonable, and relentless. That's going to do it for today's episode